Welcome to the Motherhood Alliance podcast, the podcast dedicated to empowering moms and families on their health and wellness journey. I'm Brittany Suttner.
And I'm Andrea Rinkus. Together, we're here to explore holistic approaches that go beyond conventional medicine.
Each week, we dive into topics that matter most to you. Everything from nutrition and mental health to alternative therapies and natural living.
And whether you're a new mom navigating the early stages of parenthood or a seasoned pro looking for new ways to support your family's well-being, you're in the right place.
Even better, all of our guests are local small business owners who you can actually talk to and work with. You can learn more about today's guest and connect with hundreds of other health and wellness professionals through our informative and easy-to-use directory at motherhoodalliance.com.
Before we get started, keep in mind that this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not a substitute for personal healthcare advice. Please consult your healthcare provider before making any changes based on the podcast content.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. Are you ready to help your family thrive? Let's get started. Hi, we are Britt and Drea from motherhoodalliance.com, and we are excited to welcome you to a 4-episode series with Corinne Zuleger, a certified brain health trainer, neuroencoding specialist, advanced certified trauma practitioner, John Maxwell leadership team member, yoga instructor, and empowerment coach. Additionally, she is trained in subconscious and hypnosis work and serves as a licensed teaching partner with Empowered Living. Corinne's coaching approach is rooted in her signature framework, the 6 Anchors of Wholeness, and she specializes in helping moms and women who feel overwhelmed, disconnected, or unfulfilled, often weighed down by guilt, perfectionism, self-doubt, or hidden grief. As you'll hear in her episodes, her mission is deeply personal, which is why she is so passionate to help women break free from negative self-talk, past traumas, and anxiety over the future. Outside of her coaching, Corinne hosts the Secret Keep Hers podcast and cherishes time spent with her husband of over 30 years and their 3 grown kids. We hope you are ready to learn as much as we did from Corinne. Let's jump into today's episode. Welcome back to our 3rd episode with Corinne. We are so excited to have you back.
Thanks for having me.
In this episode, I'm excited for this one because we're going to be kind of breaking down the differences and the different types of like therapy, coaching, subconscious work, things that she specializes in, and just helping people like kind of answer questions, especially if you're like, I'm struggling with something. Well, who do you see for that and what might be the best fit for you? So let's start with therapy. How would you kind of define therapy and who is it for?
So therapy really is past focused. I would highly recommend therapy for people who have experienced some deep trauma in their life. If you are really depressed, severely anxious, really struggling in a mental health way, I would start with therapy.
Mm-hmm. And I know that's where you started.
It absolutely is. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So then there's coaching, which I think can be a confusing word for people because there's all sorts of different health coaches, life coaches, different, you're a specialized coach in many different arenas. So help us understand what coaching is and then like kind of the goals and who it's for.
Yeah. So that really is, coaching is future focused. You want something, and coaching is designed to help you get there, right? So maybe it's through, sustained, measurable, the attainable goals. And you make a goal and you move through that goal and you set the next goal. It's all about accountability and strategy. But coaching can be depending on the type of coaching, right? It's all about asking good questions. So what coaching is therapy, you're going to talk about something and they're going to listen. Where coaching is, I'm going to ask questions as a coach and you're going to come to your own answers. Because this, again, is about accessing what's within you. And so a good coach will ask good questions. And then you also have mentoring. So as a mentor, I can coach you through all of the different things that I have been through in my life. right? Because I have expertise and experience in that area. Where, coaching might be, they're able to ask really good questions and they're able to steer you in certain things, but they may not necessarily have the experience in that area as well. They just know how to ask really good questions and how to get you to your answers.
Interesting. Okay, and then we also have subconscious work, which I think is going to be a little bit more of what we've been talking about with neuroencoding, and then you also have some other strategies as well. So help us understand that definition.
Okay, so I remember early in one of the earlier episodes, we talked about that 95% of your thought processes are actually in your subconscious. So knowing that, there are methods that we can use to rewire in the subconscious. One of the ways that we can do that is through repetition. So things that are stored in our subconscious they go all the way back to being in utero. And there's a lot of beliefs that it's been, like other soul lives. So these things carry forward with us. And you may not have a working memory of it, but your body remembers it. And so there's the subconscious, right? So some sort of significant emotional event happened, or in the case of adverse childhood experiences, it was, the first 18 years of your life, you're experiencing these things, and that all gets put in there. So up until about the age 10, you have a very open mind. Everything gets put in there, everything that's relating to the five senses. So the smells, the hearing, the tasting, the touching, the seeing, all of those things get put into your mind. And then as you grow, you're like, oh, I want to do this thing, but yet you're not able to. Okay. So the subconscious has got some sort of block in it. So with that, knowing that, I can, through repetition, so something like the stop technique, I can rewire it, or through using techniques like hypnosis, or in my case, I'm trained in something called RAMP, which is rapid accelerated mind patterning. And I'm also trained in hypnosis. But you can use those as moving in one and done type things, right? To rewire the brain. And so the subconscious work can be I really don't understand, why do I keep self-sabotaging why do I keep doing that? And once you have an awareness, though, that you're self-sabotaging, you can go in then and do a RAMP session, and we can do work around what's causing that, what's triggering that, and rewire it through a series of processes.
I want to break that down a little bit. What does a RAMP session actually look like?
What does it look like? Okay, so in a RAMP session, in a coaching session, so typically for me, RAMP is something I will use in, like, if I have a year-long client and we're working on, achieving different goals, and we're bumping up against, and that's why I was specific to self-sabotaging. So I really know I want to do this thing, but yet I'm standing on the ledge and I'm not doing it. A RAMP session is where I take somebody into through breathing and through guided imagery, I bring them down into a state of what's called a brainwave of theta. And in that theta brainwave, you are somewhat, you're lucid, like you're aware of what's going on to you, but it's kind of like a dreamlike state. So in there, then I'm going to talk to your higher self. And I'm going to ask, so for instance, I can share an example with you of my own, where I had a RAMP session done to me. And I couldn't figure out, it was a worthiness issue. And so, she said, you have this feeling. And so it goes all the way into feeling, right? Because the subconscious thinks in pictures. Okay. And so, what is the feeling I'm feeling in my body, right? What is it? Where is it? So I was getting this feeling it would always be like in my gut area. And so, reach in there, pull that out, look at it, and, imagine you can give it form, right? So I give it form. What does it look like? It looks like a big blob. Like, can you describe it? It's brown. Really looks like a big pile of poop. That's really what it looked like, right? And so as we're working through this and that process, what we found was that that it really was a pile of poop. And when my dad would be really drunk, he would say things like, you're just a piece of crap, and, that I wasn't worthy, and just a lot of garbage would come out. And so that was something that I believed about myself. And so being able to take it, I was able to transform it. And then when it transforms, it gives you gifts, and it gives you things like that you need, like maybe you need courage. Maybe you need confidence, right? And it gives you these really great things. And then through the ramp process, we go in then and install those into you, and it rewires your brain.
So interesting.
Is this like over an hour session? Is it a couple sessions?
This would be, so one of those particular sessions is about 90 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I would think it would take some time.
It does take some time. And then I will put together a form, and we will talk about I say, this is what the gifts were that it gave you. And then you can turn those into affirmations, things that you say to yourself regularly. We didn't really get to talk about it the last episode, but one of the things I work on is identity. In having that be your I amness. In that, right, I am confident, I am courageous, and creating a statement, like a declaration, like I, Corinne Zuleger, am a beacon of love and light. I'm an organized, disciplined, persistent, confident, courageous, and mine is really, really long, so I won't go into the whole thing, but having that identity statement, and it's something that I say to myself regularly to be able to retrain my brain, right? So I take all the gifts that were given to me, and we apply them into your life.
Wow, that's super cool.
So you're almost, so in the example you just gave of a ramp session, it has to do a lot with helping someone get into a state so deep. I forget what you called it, but that sounded
Theta brainwave.
Theta brainwave. Okay. And then it's almost using a blend of imagery and working with the subconscious to redo that hard thing into something that's beautiful.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. That is so deep. So many more questions.
I know. I'm like, oh man. Man, it's amazing.
You also mentioned that you're trained in hypnosis. And so I think this is something where the only exposure people have had to this is they went to some sort of show once and somebody got hypnotized up on stage.
And they're doing
they
the
had
chicken
to do
dance.
something ridiculous. And so what is hypnosis actually doing, or how does it work?
So hypnosis, again, is about taking you down into that relaxed brainwave. So it is not mind control. You're fully aware. Performative is different because performative hypnosis, they know based on the way bodies react, they can tell who's going to be highly suggestive, right? So again, they get you into that hypnotic state. They can pretty much get people to be, to get you to do things. When I'm doing a hypnosis session, so I'm going to collect a bunch of information from you ahead of time. And we're going to talk about, what it is you really want. And then I'm going to create for you a hypnosis programming, if you will, for you to listen to. So you're going to listen to that in the safety of your own home, with your own headphones on, and, in the morning or at night before bed. So right away when you get up in the morning, you are in theta brainwave. That particular time is a very powerful time for you to listen to something hypnotic. You're also, as you start to drift off to sleep at night, in that same wave. this is where it has the power to insert something new, something different, right? And so using the imagination, so our imagination is so powerful. And for whatever reason, we kind of lose it. In that, when we become adults, it's like, don't be so childish. To heck with that. Like, get out and play. When it goes back to like, when you have that sense of wonder about the world, that is where the power comes in. And so all hypnosis does is it gives you an imagery of, like, these are what you want, and you're being courageous and confident and bold. And I'm standing on stage, and then energetically those things will come. They come to you. You begin to believe, because that's really all a belief is, right? A belief is a thought that you've had over and over and over again that became the habit. The habit of that thinking became the way you believe something. And so through hypnosis, we can change some of those, maybe the things that aren't serving you so much, into things that are going to be positive. And I'm like, double high five, hands up to the humans out there that have not ever experienced any form of trauma in their life. Like, that is amazing. But statistically, that's not the case, right? When we start looking at statistics of the number of people that have been affected in some way, whether it's what they call big T, little t traumas, right? So we can say like divorce and things like that. There's those sort of traumas, or there's traumas of, losing a child. There's trauma of growing up in abusive environments. Trauma is trauma, and there's not a comparativeness to it. There's just a different way it lives in your body. It just, it lives in your body different. And so with using subconscious work, we can access that and help heal some of and it's been proven, there's science out there, that by using things like neuroencoding and hypnosis and ramp, that we can heal physical ailments that within our body, because the thought creates the feeling thought over and over and over again creates a certain vibration in my body. And if it's a low, like anger is like the bottom of the pile on the vibration scale. So with that, anger can store itself in your body and wreak havoc on your liver. There's just so many different ways we could go with this. And I get really excited when I talk about this kind of stuff, because we have that power within us to do a lot of healing simply through thought processes.
So it almost seems like the subconscious work piece, the neuroencoding, the hypnosis, the ramp, things like that, are taking present thoughts and feelings that have evolved from the past and rewiring them for a better future, right? So it's almost like you talked about, therapy is for past healing, coaching is for future focus, and then subconscious work is kind of blending the three, but also really focusing in on how we're doing in the present.
Yes.
Is that accurate?
Yes. And this is, really where it takes a specialty type coach to be able to handle those sort of things. And I know we had talked like, when you have really severe trauma, I, think that it's best in my mind to have them begin in therapy and then work their way into coaching. Every once in a while, you kind of I will say in air quotes, accidentally stumble on something that you didn't know. And so therefore I'm not going to be like, oh, sorry, I can't do this with you. And, tell them to hit the road. I'm going to help them work through it.
Can you give us, like you're saying, for someone who has a past trauma that they can pinpoint something, therapy is going to be where they should start. Mm-hmm. But what about what we've been talking about in like our prior episodes? The average, let's say, adult who is burned out, who is having a ton of guilt, who is just having a lot of negative talk. where would you recommend that they start?
Coaching is great because we can, especially with the things that I do, using things like neuroencoding and all of the Dr. Daniel Amen techniques, and all the information about the brain, we can bring things in and help things heal. And I use the word heal because, whether you're working on burnout or overwhelm, that needs to be healed, something within you, right? Because the healing comes in the thought process. There's a belief in you that drives you. Burnout and hitting that rock bottom of burnout was for me the belief that I had to do it all myself, right? And that I wasn't a good mom, in air quotes, if I couldn't do it all myself. It somehow made me dysfunctional or bad, for a lack of a better way of saying it. So in that, we're working on healing the thought processes.
What is the youngest population that you work with?
I have worked with high school students. I actually go into high schools and teach. I will do inner critic work. So I teach the identity. I teach the stop technique. We talk mirror work and smile. I teach them the simple tips and tricks to help them with their mental wellness. I know they say like as young as 12. Once they get to that formative part where the subconscious, now we have the conscious brain. Okay, so we draw it. It looks like you have a top and a bottom, but it's not. It's just you have both components of it or all of it, where they're starting to logically think. Right.
Yes.
That's when you can work with them.
Okay,
I love that.
Around 12.
I think what you've shared is so interesting. And I know you have a few spots open for one-on-one coaching right now. Mm-hmm. So I want to make sure that people know that you are available and are taking some new clients. If somebody has additional questions about anything you've shared in all three of our episodes, but especially today, just talking about the subconscious work that you do and the coaching that you do, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
They can just send me an email. It's CM Zuleger, ZULEGER, the number 9 at gmail.com.
Perfect. We do have one more episode coming up. We're going to be talking about mom brain. And I am very excited for this one because I feel like I can relate to just that phrase alone.
A lot of relatability.
Yep. So we'll be back shortly with that one. If you enjoyed this episode, would you consider leaving a rating or review or sharing it directly with a friend who could benefit from the information? We know that you're a busy mom or caregiver, and our goal is to make your life easier by bringing tips and tricks directly from experts into your earbuds. By sharing this episode with someone you love, you can play a critical role in helping to make their life easier as well. We appreciate your time and thank you for being a part of the Motherhood Alliance family.